Be ready for spoilers ahead. The movie starts in Sierra Leone, West Africa. Solomon, a fisherman, wakes up his son Deer to head off to school, and later he goes fishing to grab the food needed to survive. After finishing his fishing, Solomon walks his son home from school. However, they encounter a group of mercenaries known as the Revolutionary United Front, which forces the two to run for their lives. Solomon hides his son underneath a boat and runs to his house. With no mercy or exception, the rebels begin killing anyone in their sights. Solomon breaks the house to free his family from the burning village, but the rebels capture him as he shouts at his wife and kids to run for safety. All the surviving men and young boys are forced to stand in front of Captain Poison. Since their government is telling the people that the future is in their hands, he orders his men to cut off the men's hands to prevent them from voting. Luckily, Solomon is allowed to keep his hands, but he is taken forcefully to work in the diamond mines. The UN chairs an immediate meeting about the civil war in Sierra Leone. The group learns that the Revolutionary United Front started the war to take over the diamond mines and sell the minerals to buy illegal weapons. Even though many countries had promised not to buy gems from the war-torn areas, there are ways for the black market to circumvent these rules, and diamonds are still getting into the hands of buyers, which funds more killings in Africa. Among those attending the meeting are Simmons and Van de Kopp, key members of the diamond industry hoping to play a role in resolving the Sierra Leone crisis. Captain Poison watches men searching for diamonds, and when a man finds a diamond, he tries to hide it in his mouth, but Poison catches him, and after taking the diamond he shoots the poor man to send a clear message to others about the consequences of theft. In a rebel-controlled area, a plane lands on the ground with two men inside. Danny Archer, an Anglo-Saxon ex-mercenary from Zimbabwe, trades arms for diamonds. He meets with Rebel Commander Zero to deliver weapons and receive diamonds as payment. Later, Danny disguises himself as a photographer and tries to cross the border into neighboring Liberia, but the government soldiers stop him. Danny's attempt to bribe them fails, resulting in his arrest, confiscation of the diamonds, and being thrown into jail. He had been transporting the diamonds to a South African mercenary named Colonel Coetzee, who is in turn employed by Van de Kopp Diamond Company's executive director. Coetzee is Archer's former commander in the 32nd Battalion of the South African Border Army, and he has to repay Colonel Coetzee for the diamonds taken from him by all means. In the diamond mine, Solomon finds a giant pink diamond worth $1 million. He then secretly hides it between his toes and sneaks off to bury it, but Captain Poison finds him, and before he can react, the government forces launch an attack, leading to the Poison's severe injuries. Solomon buries the diamond just before he is captured and taken to jail, where Danny is also an inmate. Danny overhears an argument between Solomon and the injured captain, during which the captain asks Solomon about the whereabouts of the diamond, since it's the biggest diamond he's ever seen. Danny is eventually set free and makes a plan to get Solomon out of jail. He arranges for Solomon's release from prison and offers to help him find his family in exchange for the pinky gems, but Solomon refuses. Not long after, Danny meets Maddie Bowen at a beachside bar, and she asks if he's a smuggler. Once Danny learns that she's a journalist for a prominent magazine in London looking for information about the illegal smuggling business, he becomes angry and walks off. Deer is taken away with the other boys by the rebels as Danny flies to Cape Town to meet Colonel Coetzee. Colonel has been selling guns to both the government and the rebels, but now the government has hired him to eliminate the rebels in the mine fields. The rebels beat Deer and other boys, brainwashing them into becoming child soldiers. Deer is forced to kill a young man soon after Captain Poison raises him to the rank of captain in his child army. As the government soldiers patrol the streets, Danny tracks Solomon down and tells him that he's the one who got him out of jail, and promises to help him find his family if he leads him to where he concealed the diamond. Suddenly, the rebels attack the city. People are dying everywhere as Danny and Solomon run through the streets for their lives, taking cover in a demolished building as they witness the rebels execute the surrendering government soldiers. After losing the battle that night, the rebels celebrate their victory over the government forces, leaving the city in ruins. The following morning, Danny and Solomon find themselves at the bridge attempting to reach the location of the hidden diamond. However, the rebels are guarding the bridge, posing a serious threat to the white man should he be caught. Danny pretends to be Solomon's prisoner, and the plan works perfectly. Danny shoots the guards, killing them. Later, both find their way to Maddie, who's now with humanitarian trucks heading to the refugee camp. Danny asks her to help Solomon track down his family. Once Maddie figures out that Danny is using Solomon to find the diamond and that he will eventually steal it from him, she refuses to assist Danny unless he provides information about the diamond market to stop the flow of blood diamonds out of Africa and expose all the companies that are funding the civil war. Danny gives Maddie the information that she wants and gets access to use the press convoy to travel to the Kono refugee camp. The convoy is attacked, killing their driver on sight, and thanks to Danny's driving experience, the trio survives, escapes the rebels, and later finds their way to the South African mercenary force under Colonel Coetzee. In the rebel camp, child soldiers are armed with firearms and adopt trendy titles to convey a sense of toughness, like Baby Killer, the master of disaster and deer is nicknamed See Me No More. They later attack and kill the villagers on Poison's orders. Danny and Maddie learn of the attack force preparing to retake Sierra Leone, a reference to the actual 1995 hiring of a South African security firm by the Provisional Government of Sierra Leone. Colonel Coetzee orders Danny to join him in the fight, while Maddie receives instructions to board the plane for evacuation. Danny gives Maddie his notebook to help with her story. It contains the names, dates, and bank accounts of all diamond companies engaged in the bloody diamond business. She gives him her number and takes his photo before she boards a plane carrying foreigners out of the conflict zone. Danny and Solomon leave the camp on foot searching for the diamond. Later that night, Solomon shouts when he sees his son only to face immediate gunfire from the rebels. That morning Danny and Solomon reach the mining valley and still under the rebels' control. When Solomon tries to go off searching for his son, they engage in a fight but Danny subdues him by pointing a gun at him. Solomon gets very emotional to the extent that he sheds tears. While walking and talking about family, Danny tells Solomon that if they find the diamond he'll quit smoking. Later, after Danny and Solomon have penetrated the mining camp, Danny calls Colonel Coetzee and provides the coordinates for an airstrike against the rebels, but it will take some time for him to deploy, so they take refuge in the rock crop. Solomon talks about peaceful times and how good his son is, but Danny wakes up in the morning to find Solomon has gone down into the rebel camp to look for his son. Solomon sneaks around and painfully meets his son, but Deer refuses to acknowledge him because he has been brainwashed by the rebels. Captain Poison reunites with Solomon, instructing him to locate the pinky diamond. If he fails to do so, Poison threatens to kill his entire family while holding a knife to his neck. Suddenly, the South African mercenary force dispatches the rebels in a massive airstrike, which kills many of them and the miners. In that commotion, Solomon becomes outrageously enraged and kills Poison with a shovel. After inflicting enough damage, Coetzee lands and orders Solomon to locate the diamond for him, but Solomon doesn't trust the colonel. Coetzee holds his son captive after realizing that he'll do anything to keep him safe. They walk off to retrieve the diamond, and as Solomon continues to dig the ground, Danny regains his trust by claiming that it's time for him to give up smoking in an attempt to trick them. In a desperate battle, Danny kills Coetzee and the other two soldiers, with him acknowledging that they would have killed both of them upon retrieving the diamond. In an unfortunate turn of events, Gia holds Danny at gunpoint with a pistol, but Solomon manages to convince him not to shoot him and that everything will be alright. Danny realizes he has been shot, but decides to keep this to himself. After retrieving the diamond, Solomon hands it to Danny, and having arranged in advance for a plane to pick them up, he radios to the pilot, who demands that Danny dump Solomon and his son. Slowly and painfully, the group makes its way from the valley towards an airstrip on top of a nearby ridge. Danny collapses, unable to climb because of the wound, and then Solomon carries him a little before Danny has him put down. Knowing that he's dying, Danny gives Solomon back the diamond and the gun, telling him to take his son home. He should contact Maddie to help him when they land, and he should not trust the pilot. Danny stays behind to hold off the rebels chasing them, while Solomon and his son escape in the airplane. Danny then makes a final phone call to Maddie, asking her to help Solomon as a last favor before looking out over the beautiful landscape of Africa once more and dying peacefully, leaning against the rock. Later, Solomon meets Maddie in the middle of London. He gets in a car where a man offers him a suitcase full of money to trade the diamond, but Solomon demands to reunite with his family first before making any transactions. With the help of Maddie, Solomon trades the diamond to Simmons for a large sum of money and the reunification of his family, making the exchange as Solomon's wife and children deplane from a jet at a London airport, while Maddie secretly photographs the deal and later publishes a magazine piece exposing the illegal trade and conflict. Solomon reads Maddie's article on blood diamonds in a magazine and smiles when he sees Danny's picture. Maddie also smiles as Solomon walks into a room full of reporters to give them first-hand testimony. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.